You as a wife, I actually want to talk about this with Chris. So because he's the Bad by Chris and because he has his own eating ways and he's with someone that is so knowledgeable and regimented, I guess, how do you allow him to just be himself? What about, because I know there's a lot of women in our community, and this is why I'm asking, that often ask about, how do I talk to my partner about spirituality, or how do I bring my partner on board, or how do I kind of like have the conversation, or like feel like we're in alignment with our partner on certain topics and issues. So what's your relationship with Chris in that way, where you really allow him to sort of be who he is, eat how he does, and just be in relationship with you during that?
Yeah. Well, I would say that, we've been together since 2007. So he's grown a lot as a human and I've grown a lot as a human, but he is who he is. And, if Chris wants to jump on DoorDash or Postmates and get himself a pizza, I'm not his mom, nor do I want to be nagging him. And I want him to be attracted to me. I want him to have sexual energy with me. Like, I think the minute we start nagging and narking and making someone feel bad about their choices, instead of making them feel empowered when they make positive choices, it's a complete relationship shift. And so for me, what's more important is that he feels empowered and proud of the choices that he's making. And that's kind of like how I want to approach it with my kids too. So it started early on in our relationship where I would make us food and I would make a smoothie. And there are days when I make dinner here and Chris toasts up frozen bagels, and they may be, gluten-free everything bagels and Kite Hill cream cheese. And I'm not keeping that around for him, but he eats dinner with us and he eats what we make. And then if he needs to eat half a jar of peanut butter with Lily's chocolate chips and or whatever's around, like, that's okay. I'm not going to be like, why are you doing that? I can't believe it didn't keep you full, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's more about saying like, hey, I see that you like bagels and cream cheese. Why don't you try this? And like, let's see if we can level up. And if it's no big deal. Does he still go get himself a bagel with cream cheese? Like, yeah, but I can't tell you, it's been weeks, if not months, because he has access or he has something that kind of like scratches the itch for him. So for Chris though, like, I can't make barbecue like the barbecue joints, and I can't make pizza like the pizza joints. And I'm not going to take that from him. I'm in a hope that we can, in the same way that filling your plate with the Fab Four kind of like encroaches on what would be the sugary processed things, like it just naturally weeds them out and doesn't allow for the same space for that. That's what we do. That's what I do with his food. So I think be an example. Don't get your feelings. I used to get my feelings hurt a lot. Like, I'd like make him something and be like, I really want you to like it. I'm that person. Like, I want people to like what I make for them. I want them to be excited about what I introduce them to. It's how I've been since I was a kid. And so I've had to learn personally to get over the fact that, like, if I make cookies, but they're sweet Laurel and I made them keto, that he's like, yeah, it just doesn't taste like chocolate chip cookies, but it's okay. Like, and I have to be like, I'm making this for me because I'm looking to enjoy this. And I'm making this to share with like my girlfriends who would rather have this than, Mrs. Fields. And that's okay. If he's not 100% on board, he's not 100% on board. And it's really had a lot to do with me having to accept that. And then also just changing the dialogue to be really positive versus being upset with the choices I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm. And I sometimes think like leading by example does penetrate their consciousness. Like, if they're seeing how like good you look and how you feel and the energy, like there is something that rubs off. Both Krista and I have our significant others.
So true.
I mean, Sean is wow.
It's unreal.
He still
it's
drinks.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's unreal. I love him. What was in the fridge, or what was it like?
He was here for 3 months and
Sugary cereals.
Krista came over and she's like, what is going on in
Chips
your fridge?
Ahoy.
It was orange juice.
Things
orange
I've never
juice,
seen in years.
which isn't bad in theory, but like he'll have a huge thing of orange juice. He loves cereal. So it's like Cocoa Puffs. It's whatever. He just yeah. But he loves athletic greens, and he thinks that is his greens, like his serving. I'm like, did you get greens like for your dinner? He's like, I had athletic greens. I'm like, hey, it's a start, and this is where we start.
Someone was a gateway for us into this world. Something got us curious about it. And so I would not stop trying. I would not stop introducing them to things. Like, I look back at living in LA and taking Chris to Erewhon, and that is like the Mecca, right? But to have like turmeric coconut flour chicken fingers, and for him to be cool with that versus like some drive-through, or they had orange chicken that tasted like P.F. Chang's, like, but made in a different way. Like, having options obviously makes it a lot easier. But even if you're, we have since like moved out of LA, I'm close enough to drive in, but it's more of the typical fast foodie type delivery if we're down here. And so we did find a place that's like the Organic Tree, and they have like juices and smoothies and salads. And literally we started doing like green juice date, where I like get this like avocado coconut smoothie, and he's like, I want a green juice. And I'm not going to be like, well, don't get the apple in that because that's going to spike your blood sugar. Like, who am I? It's like, he's like, Bash, if I have a podcast or something, Bash, we're going to go on an adventure. Everything's an adventure in our house if we leave the house. So we're going on an adventure, and we're going to go to the Organic Tree. We're going to get, they had like triple fermented sourdough avocado toast, and like, the smoothie or the juice. It's like, I'm not going to be like, get in this or get in that. It's like, this is a good little thing that they're starting to do together without me. I'm so impressed. So it's like, give it time and praise it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.